Welcome back to one-on-one shadow boxing. John, we left our audience before the break with a question on Antar. Can you explain your involvement and what Antar is doing and what you do in it?
Yes, I will, but first I just got to make one point. When I said that I've been accepted into Aboriginal law, I've got to make it very clear I'm not speaking on behalf of those people when I speak. And there's a great difference between someone who's taken into that system in an honorary way, never having grown up with that culture, and people who live that culture and become part of that law. Being accepted into that system, I'm still not able to speak on behalf of those people. So these views are my own personal views.
So, Antar.
Well, when Antar was formed, it stood for Australians for Native Title and Reconciliation. A few years ago, we decided to keep the acronym Antar because it was an established sort of brand name.
Yes.
And drop the words Native Title and Reconciliation. The reason was we're an advocacy body. We advocate on behalf of Aboriginal people, which is very difficult because, like the rest of Australia, there's a whole lot of different people that we call Aboriginal, right?
Yes.
So there's people out in the desert, there's people in the cities, there's people in the jails.
And on the island, Torres Strait Island, yes.
Yeah, and there's people who that got that much blood through to just a little bit, right? And then within those groups, there's different tribes or nations, as they prefer to be called, and within then there's clans and families. So to say Aboriginal people need this or Aboriginal people should do this, which is what our society typically says about them when it's talking about Aboriginal people, it's like saying everyone in this studio should have the same colour hair or a beard like mine or whatever.
I try.
Yeah, no, but you've got a while to go yet. So we now describe ourselves as an advocacy group for justice, rights and respect for Aboriginal people. And that's why at the very beginning of the interview, respect, I brought up that thing of language because, you know, if you go somewhere and you want to interact with the people, the first thing you do is learn how to say hello. I mean, how else do you say hello to someone without saying hello?
Oh, the English done on the reverse way, so they asked the Aboriginal to learn their language, so they say it hello anyway. In English, they're still doing it. So,
well, I don't want to run the English down too much. They're quite capable of doing that themselves, and they've proven that over a long period of time. And you know, at the same time, England has done a lot for this country, and in different ways, Aboriginal people have benefited. So it's a mixture of the good and the bad, like many things.
So what's left for Antar then to do?
Well, we try and listen to what seems to be a representative voice from Aboriginal people, and then we make our decisions nationally and then sort of autonomously as well on a state-by-state basis. So I'm not obliged as the chairperson of Antar WA to follow the set rules of Antar because we recognise as a national organisation that we're in a different context here in Western Australia, right? I mean, well, it's obvious. I don't need to go into it. You know, this is the state that Lang Hancock used to live in. He thought that we'd do Aboriginal.
And now Gina lives still here.
Well, I've never met her, and she's wiser than her father in that she doesn't say as much. And certainly, you know, some of the things she says are a bit outlandish, but I don't think she's yet managed to compete with her father in that regard, God rest his soul.
John, I think I heard something about yourself as a filmmaker. So tell the audience.
Now you are taking the piss.
Tell the audience how do you involve with filmmaking or television and with FTI?
Well, I'm on the board there now, and my aim in going onto the board was to help get more Aboriginal content and production in Western Australia. I think that's incredibly important, and especially from young people. So young people of all nations, or all backgrounds, but particularly Aboriginal ones. But
have you succeeded to achieve something on that matter?
No, look, not a lot, right? But the thought, the ideas are in there. You'd know yourself. Anything you're trying to achieve in this world, let me use the example of my food project, SUN, Sustainable Urban Nutrition. I started the first experiments for that 10 years ago. I've been evicted once because of it from a property for daring to convert local lawn clippings into compost on a verge that is, in my opinion, as an ex-farmer, a total waste of land. And the council came and stole my compost. It took a tip truck, a front-end loader and 3 staff. And I just sat on the veranda and watched them do it and just laughed. I thought, what a mob of idiots.
But since that time, you still got problems with the council.
Oh no, look, in South Perth, where I'm living now, the council has been very supportive. So my project, the patron of it, is the Lord Mayor of South Perth. And I've had several councillors on my property picking vegetables that go to food bank for needy people and all that sort of thing. So no, certainly the city of South Perth has been very supportive of me, and I can't commend them highly enough. They're a bureaucratic organisation. I mean, it doesn't happen as simply as what I want, but that's the nature of change. Sustainable change is an evolutionary step-by-step process. I'm not a believer in revolution. But the WA Planning Commission, I rent a property off them on Canning Highway that's going to be bulldozed to widen the highway in 10 years if they get their act together to do it in that time. And they haven't been very supportive in what I'm trying to do, would be a good way of putting it. I'm still in ongoing negotiations with them on a day-to-day basis, really. I don't have secure tenancy anymore. They cancelled my lease in error and haven't yet renewed it. When I first came to Perth, people said, what are you doing? You should be in the country. And I said, well, I am. This is country, right? But actually, I've come here to turn Perth into a farm. And they thought I was joking. And, I don't mean a farm, a beautiful farm like the 2 I had down south, which were just in most amazing places. Perth's gone a bit far for that. But the idea, basically, that we take responsibility, if we want to eat, let's grow some. It's pretty simple. With those production trial gardens, we delivered some food out to Food Bank. And Food Bank, we have a great relationship with Food Bank. We take food out there, and it's not, it wouldn't fill up this room. It's part of our production trials. And you get home, you've just been through picking it all, washing it, packing it, delivering it out there, getting it weighed, because that's how we can show what we're producing through their weight records. And then you go home and you have a feed that night or the next night and you think, I wonder how many people around Perth have got some of our food on their plates or in their stomachs now. It's a beautiful thing.
Your involvement with the West Australian Labour Party or the Labour Party of Australia, tell us something. Why you've been involved first in politics, and you said you've been involved before with the Greens, and what's wrong with politics these days?
Gosh, how long have we got?
You got 2 minutes for that.
Okay. Well, I hope to make some simplistic generalisations. I got involved with politics because generally I believe if you think something wrong, get involved in trying to fix it. You might find out that what you thought was wrong wasn't bad. Hopefully what you'll find a way is to make it slightly better or markedly better. And politics is one way of doing that. My involvement in the Greens was quite natural because I was involved in a lot of conservation groups in the southwest in quite a range of issues, forestry, coastal development, etc., etc. What's wrong with the political system? Well, democracy as we do it, and the way it was invented by whoever invented it, I can't think of any other important system that we do, except perhaps religion, but I don't do that, that was invented such a long time ago and basically hasn't been changed much. So I think all parties have something to offer. I've been to meetings of One Nation, I've been to meetings of the National Party, the Liberal Party, the Labor Party, the Greens Party. Everyone's got something to offer, right? Someone's sleeping in the park, someone in the best corporate building in town, etc., etc. And we need a system that can accommodate all of those views and give us the best of all of them as a system, rather than a system that gives us a compromise between the worst of all of them, which is quite often what we have today. The Labor Party, I went into the Labor Party out of the Greens because a mate of mine was running for the seat of O'Connor, and as a Labor candidate against Wilson Tuckey, who I thought was a bit of a twit. And he asked me to help him, and I said, yep. And to do that, I had to join the Labor Party. And I've been in there ever since, except for when I was travelling around the country. And I have to say, I have respect. I mean, we all make jokes about politics and politicians, but I have respect for anyone who is trying to help their country. I don't think it's the people in politics are the problem. I mean, groups of people are hard. You know that, you run a TV station. Anything with groups of people is hard. But I think it's well overdue that we had a good look at the system. Not the parties.
The whole political system and democracy itself.
I mean, sure, I can't vote on an issue, right? If the Labor Party and the Liberal Party aren't for stopping all logging in our native forests, which I just think is a no-brainer, right? How can I vote for that issue, right? Well, I could vote for the Greens, but the unfortunate reality is they're not going to be the governing party, right? So
Not
if
today,
I want my
tomorrow,
vote to go to someone who's going to implement what they say, I only have two choices, Labor or Liberal. And
so it's very limited still.
Yeah.
Still very limited.
Imagine
choice.
if every Australian could vote issue by issue and we just had some people in that building, the old Parliament House, and their job is to give direction to the implementation of what all Australian people said they want.
It's
Now, that'd be a pretty good system.
sounds democracy. I don't think people...
No, let's call it something else. Democracy is a loaded term, Tibor.
But still not exists, so...
Yeah.
If we can close with that, John, thank you for your visit in the studio. Nice talking to you, and good luck for your project coming up.
Thank you, and a pleasure to be here, I must say.
And please come back next week, same time, same channel, one-on-one shadow boxing.